Part 2. Fantasy, me. Create a secret building at the beginning. Author, Mavericks Flying. Chapter 11. Fellow Taoist is really too polite. As the saying goes, visitors are guests, so what are you doing lying on the ground? Get up quickly, have a cup of tea to warm your body, don't worry about business matters. Li Yun's expression changed and he became very enthusiastic. He helped Yang Qiu up from the ground and helped him sit on the chair next to him. At the same time, he also brought him a cup of hot tea. If the seniors can't do it, the juniors can do it themselves. Yang Qiu was flattered. Just a moment ago, his life was hanging by a thread, but in an instant, he became a guest. This change made him fearful and he did not dare to go beyond the limits. If he makes trouble, he will die. This is all as it should be. Li Yun said with a smile. Seeing Yang Qiu pick up the teacup and take a sip, he asked again, I don't know, what news does fellow Daoist Yang want to buy in Tianji Tower? Yang Qiu's heart tightened. Is this coming? He put down the teacup, looked at Li Yun cautiously, and asked tentatively, as a senior, what news do you think this junior should buy? Yang Qiu is almost desperate for the news about Tianji Tower. At present, he just wants to waste money and eliminate disasters. He should flee from this place immediately. From now on, he will never come to this sad place again. As for Du Qinchang's death, he has already putting it all behind my mind, my own safety is more important than my apprentice. What are you talking about? Li Yun looked displeased. For Yang Qiu to say this, it seemed like he was buying and selling by force. If the news got out, would he still be able to do business with Tianji House? What the seniors taught us is. Yang Qiu nodded repeatedly, like a junior who respected his teacher, and said junior really doesn't know what news to buy. Whatever. Li Yun took a breath helplessly and said, I'll give you some advice. After finishing speaking, Li Yun opened Yang Qiu's personal information panel. Open the Learn More option. A series of Yang Qiu's personal information appeared inside. Name, Yang Qiu. Lifelong dream, to enter the Holy Land. Inner demon, senior brother Wang Yufeng. Note, 800 years ago, Yang Qiu and his senior brother Wang Yufeng explored a saint's cave together in order to monopolize the treasure. Yang Qiu ambushed his senior brother and destroyed his corpse. Click to learn more. Tisk tisk tisk. After reading the introduction, Li Yun glanced at Yang Qiu. I didn't expect that. This Yang Qiu was quite good at playing. He was worthy of being a member of the Devil's Path, and he actually killed his senior brother. The only flaw was that his senior brother became his inner demon. In a fantasy world, the dangers of inner demons are self-evident. Not good. It's easy to become possessed. In severe cases, it may lead to death. Without solving the inner demons, it is almost impossible for this generation to move forward. And Yang Qiu's biggest dream precisely sanctification. Senior. Yang Qiu shouted uneasily. Having been glanced at by Li Yun just now, he felt that his whole body had been seen through by the other party, and there was no privacy in his body. This feeling made him extremely uneasy. Li Yun responded lightly. Dare to ask seniors. Yang Qiu laughed dryly, rubbed his palms, and said respectfully, what you said just now means giving advice. Do you want to become a saint? Li Yun said directly. Yang Qiu's mind was shaken, and his mouth suddenly felt dry. He quickly said, I want to, even in my wildest dreams. After he finished speaking, he slumped down on the chair like a deflated rubber ball. His family knew his family affairs. His inner demons were so strong that they had affected his cultivation. Every time he practiced hard, something would flash in his mind. Seeing the shadow of his senior brother before his death made him almost crazy. It is extremely difficult to continue to practice, let alone become a saint, and not to go crazy. Does Senior have any ideas? Suddenly, Yang Qiu sat up again and asked aloud. He has a strong obsession with becoming a saint. Otherwise, he would not have ambushed his senior brother for the cave left by a saint. Of course there is a way. Li Yun picked up the teacup and took a sip. Yun Danfan said lightly, if it were someone else, it would be easy to become a saint, but it's different for you. Why? Yang Qiu was unwilling to give up and asked quickly. Why can others become saints, but he is different? If the senior who is suspected of being an emperor has no way, he can't think of anyone else in the world who can help him become a saint. Have you forgotten Wang Yufeng? Li Yun said with a smile, but not a smile. King, Wang Yufeng. Yang Qiu's body was shaken, and his eyes were full of shock. He stood up with a bang and said in disbelief, how did you know? At the beginning, there were only him and his senior brother in the saint's cave. He shot and killed his senior brother. No one knew about it? As long as he didn't spread the news, no other person in the world would know about it. It can be said to be a top secret. Even the leader of the 9 Nether Demon sect has not been able to trace it out. How could a Tianji building master who was far away in Dawang City know about Wang Yufeng? More importantly, this Tianji building master's strength clearly surpassed that of a saint. He shouldn't be so bored that he would go to a saint's cave to see the intrigues between him and his senior brother. The Tianji Tower controls the secrets of heaven and provides insight into the movement of heaven. Things that have happened in this world and things that have not happened cannot be hidden from my eyes. Li Yun said with a smile. Fantasy, me. Create a secret building at the beginning. Author, Mavericks Flying. Chapter 12. Is this the Tianji Tower? Yang Qiu was extremely shocked. He couldn't figure out how the owner of Tianji knew his most secret things. Except that the other party could deduce Tianji, there was no other possibility. Can the senior's words help the junior to get rid of their inner demons? Yang Qiu asked in a low voice. As long as he can eliminate his inner demons. Even if he cannot become a saint, he will be satisfied. At least he can make further progress. What if the time comes and he accidentally becomes a saint? It's just a demon, what's the point? Li Yun smiled disdainfully and said, it's just becoming a saint. There are many ways to do it. It just depends on whether you can pay the corresponding price. As long as the seniors are willing to point out a clear path, the juniors are willing to give it their all. Yang Qiu said firmly. Although he is ruthless, his desire for strength cannot be faked. Everything he does is for himself to go further. Easy to say. Li Yun smiled slightly and said in his heart, let's check the system to see if there is any opportunity in this world that can help people get rid of their inner demons and enter the holy realm. Ding. After system query, there are a total of 183 opportunities that match the host's conditions. Undead Island, 8 million secret points are needed to find out the exact location of the opportunity. The mountain behind Ziwei Holy Land, 5 million secret points are needed to find out the specific location. Attachment, a copy of How to Crack the Ziwei Array. Tomb of the Great Emperor of All Destructions, 4 million TNG points are needed to find out the specific location. Luyun Ancient Saint Tomb, 80,000 TNG points are required to find out the specific location. Bishui Cliff, 30,000 secret points are required to find out the specific location. I took a rough look at the prices. The corner of Li Yun's mouth twitched. Some of these opportunities are known to everyone in the world, and some have not yet been born. If he can obtain them all, he must start at the level of the Great Emperor or above. But this possibility is too low. Some things cannot be obtained without certain strength. For example, the mountain behind Ziwei Holy Land. Almost everyone knows it, but few people dare to go there. It is a holy place and you will die if you go there. And some other opportunities. It's not time to be born yet, so he's probably waiting for the right person. If the opportunity is opened by the wrong person at the wrong time, the power of divine punishment will make people feel sour just thinking about it. Now, these messages will be revealed one by one from his own mouth. I am afraid that I will be struck by lightning when I go out in the future. Think of this. Li Yun looked at Yang Qiu with a meaningful smile on his lips. If you don't kill the fat sheep, how can you be worthy of yourself? I had to bear the power of divine punishment, and the other party took the benefits. How could such a good thing be possible in the world? Senior. Yang Qiu was frightened and called out in a low voice. The sense of crisis just now resurfaced again. He secretly guessed in his heart that the senior had murderous intentions for him again. But he didn't do anything. If he died, wouldn't he? Very unjust. Cough. Li Yun came back to his senses, coughed slightly, took a deep look at Yang Qiu, and said, if you were elsewhere, it would be as difficult as climbing to heaven if you wanted to get rid of your inner demons and become a saint. Yang Qiu nodded after hearing this, with a bitter look on his face. Why doesn't he understand this? If there was a way, he would have become a saint long ago by relying on the 9 nether demon sect, and there is no need to wait until today. But it is easy to put it in the Tianji Tower. Li Yun smiled and said, please give me some advice from my seniors. Yang Qiu was overjoyed and quickly bowed and saluted. Li Yun glanced sideways and tapped the armrest with his fingers. There was a clicking sound, but he didn't say a word. He shook his head slightly in his heart. Although this Yang Qiu is a holy lord level figure, he has always been fawning over others. He, and he himself, thinks so highly of himself that he even has no basic eyesight. He is still far behind Lu Chensu, a generation younger than him. Just ask. I can find out secrets for free. Just a chance. He started out with tens of thousands of points, but now he only has 10 in secret points. How to check? It's the junior's negligence. Yang Qiu laughed dryly, and a feather fan appeared in his hand, glowing with dazzling light, and surrounded by strange phenomena. It was very bright. A celestial level spiritual treasure is not worthy of respect, but I hope the seniors will accept it. Li Yun nodded and took the feather fan. At the same time, he asked the system and tried to redeem it. Flowing fire, wind and cloud fan, celestial level, can be exchanged for 1,500 heavenly secret points. Only 1,500 points. Li Yun frowned. The opportunities he checked just now started out in the tens of thousands, and these 1,500 points were not even enough to squeeze between his teeth. Next to him, when Yang Qiu saw Li Yun's expression, his heart skipped a beat, and he hurriedly took out a magic weapon again, handed it over, and said, this is a magic weapon that the younger generation has been practicing for thousands of years. The power of the soul-binding and life-snatching lock cannot be underestimated. If the senior likes it, he will give it to him. Li Yun once again accepted it calmly. The soul-binding life-stealing lock, Holy Master level, can be exchanged for 8,000 secret points. This time, the secret points are much higher, but they are still very high. They are still far away from any chance. Li Yun coughed lightly and said calmly, fellow Daoist Yang, you must understand that the opportunity I tell you can not only help you eliminate your inner demons, but also make you a saint. Do you know what is holy? Under the saints, all are ants, this is the saint. In the face of such opportunities, what use are you still caring about some bottles and cans? When you become a saint, what do you want and can't get? If the information from Tianji Tower is wrong afterwards, you can come back to me at any time and I will return everything to you. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, Me. Create a secret building at the beginning. Author, Mavericks Flying. Chapter 13. Senior joked. Yang Qiu said bitterly. What Li Yun said just now is right. Saints are very powerful, and not even one of 100 people at the peak of the Saint Lord level can step into the Saint realm. However, if there is an opportunity to become a saint, it is in front of you. Countless people will go crazy about it. This kind of news will make everyone's heart beat. Even if he uses all his wealth to exchange it, Yang Qiu is willing to do so. But he will never believe Li Yun's last words, even if the news is false. Yes, could it be possible that I was so stupid as to come back and return the goods? The first time I came here, I almost died. The next time I came here, wouldn't it be a direct burp? Yang Qiu gritted his teeth, glanced at the Tianji building, and then looked at the place in front of him. Li Yun, he waved his hand, and countless spiritual stones, heavenly materials, and earthly treasures were spread all over the lobby. After doing this, Yang Qiu took out a jade slip again, respectfully sent it to Li Yun, and said, Senior, this is an ancient book left by a saint. There is a volume of skills hidden in it called Demon Soul Crossing. It contains the secrets of the Holy Realm and is very mysterious. After adding these treasures, can you give me some news from Senior? Demon Soul Crossing. It was exactly what Yang Qiu got from a saint's cave. For this jade slip, he even tricked his own senior brother to death. This shows its value. Li Yun glanced at the treasures covering the lobby, and from the corner of his eyes, after a jump, there was no immediate response. For a moment, the lobby was extremely silent. Yang Qiu kept the same posture as before, not daring to make any movement. A trace of cold sweat broke out on his forehead, and he did not dare to wipe it. His heart skipped a beat at this moment. It has reached the extreme. Now, he has nothing left. He only has a Holy Master level magic umbrella left, which is the magic weapon that his life is at stake in. He cannot hand it over. If this is the case, and there is still no news, he can only admit. System. Li Yun called out in his heart and said, estimate the value of these things. 3 pieces of celestial level magic weapons can be exchanged for 5,000 heavenly secret points, 7 pieces of heavenly transformation level magic weapons can be exchanged for 3,000 heavenly secret points, 36 million top-grade spiritual stones can be exchanged for 4,100 heavenly secret points, and several heavenly materials and earthly treasures can be redeemed for 5,200 TNG points. Demon Soul Crossing, Sage level skill, can be exchanged for 14,000 TNG points. Total, 31,300 secret points. I didn't realize that Yang Qiu was so rich. Li Yun clicked his tongue. As soon as he made a move, he got more than 30,000 TNG points. Including the 2 things he took out before, it was more than 40,000 TNG points. To say it was a wave of fat is not an exaggeration. Sure enough, it is more reliable to wait for the big fish. If you count on some young talent, you may not be able to collect more than 40,000 secret points in your next life. Li Yun was quite emotional. He waved his hand and instantly collected everything. At the same time, he exchanged it for TNG points. The original 0 eggs turned into 40,800 points at this moment. System, query the specific information of Bishui Cliff opportunity. Li Yun said in his heart. Ding. After deducting 30,000 TNG points, the Bishui Cliff opportunity inquiry was successful. Bishui Cliff is a secret realm left behind by an ancient saint after he passed away. It is located in the Beiduan Mountains. It is blocked by 2 ancient killing formations and 3 ancient illusion formations serve as barriers. To ensure the success of the exploration, a copy of the formation cracking method is included. There probably aren't many people in the world as kind as me. Li Yun sighed with emotion. After earning 40,000 TNG points, he turned around and was deducted 30,000 by the system. He only had 10,000 left. He only earned a handling fee. Yang Kaiu. After glancing at the information on Bishui Cliff, Li Yun turned to look at Yang Qiu and spoke softly, "Seeing that you are sincere, I will tell you an opportunity to become a saint." The corner of Yang Qiu's mouth twitched. He was a dignified elder of the Nine Nether Demon sect, and all his life savings were thrown away in the Tianji Tower. If this was not sincerity, he couldn't think of how to be sincere. He complained in his heart, but he did not dare to say it out loud. Yang Qiu took a step forward with a very respectful attitude and said, "The juniors are all heirs." A jade slip appeared in Li Yun's hand. He threw it out and said, "Take this jade slip and go to the Beiduan Mountains. If you can find the Bishui Cliff, you will be able to become a saint soon. The jade slips contain the method of breaking the formation, don't lose it." An opportunity left by an ancient saint was protected by several large formations. Li Yun felt that if there was no way to break the formation sent by the system, Yang Qiu would be in vain. Whether he can break the formation is not said. The key is this: by chance, he had not yet been born, maybe it was left by heaven to a child of luck. Yang Qiu was not a child of luck. If he rushed in rashly, he would definitely die. "Many, thank you, senior." Yang Qiu stretched out his hand tremblingly and carefully took the jade slip, as if he had encountered a rare treasure, and kept it in the storage ring. This jade slip is made of ordinary material. But it was obtained with all his wealth. Even if it is a waste, it has become extremely valuable now. Li Yun nodded and said, "If there is nothing else, you should go to Bishui Cliff as soon as possible. If you go late, you may lose the opportunity." "Yes." Yang Qiu bowed and said, "Junior will go now." It was different from when he came. When he left, Yang Qiu was extremely respectful. He bowed to the Tianji Tower when he left the door. He was extremely humble. No one who saw him could tell that he was a holy master with demonic flames rising to the sky. A super person. Like a gentle and respectful junior. He took a deep look at Tianji Tower. Yang Qiu turned around, and his old body seemed to have been drained of all its strength. He collapsed suddenly, and 2 lines of clear tears fell from his eyes. Out of the corner of eyes. What a sin! Yang Qiu looked up to the sky and sighed. At this moment, he felt that his heart was twitching. Fantasy, me. Create a secret building at the beginning. Author, Mavericks Flying. Chapter 14. Thousands of years of savings. Once turned into running water. He just wanted to avenge his disciple. Who would have thought that he would break into such a dragon's pit and a tiger's den? Yang Qiu had no doubts about the strength of the master of Tianji, but he was very worried about the news in his hand. It is really. The reputation of Tianji Tower is too small. Never heard of it? With such a good thing, how could it be his turn? This time, it can be regarded as a waste of money and a lesson. Yang Qiu comforted himself in his heart. Next time, when a disciple dies, he will never care about it. If he cares about it once, he will lose everything. If he does it again, his life will be involved. He took out the jade slip and looked at it again. Well. Yang Qiu sighed. The authenticity of all the things he exchanged for his wealth is not yet known. Beiduan Mountains. Yang Qiu's expression changed. He seemed to have heard of this place. It seems that it is only 4 to 5 million miles away from here, which is not too far away. I just want to go and take a look. For his holy lord level strength, he can go back and forth in half a day, which does not take much time. If it is true, it would be better. If it is false, even if it is fake, it seems that there is nothing he can do against Tianji Tower. Master Tianji is too strong, even the entire Juyu demon sect is no match for him. Yang Qiu looked sad and looked up in the direction of Beiduan mountain range. After spending so much money, I always feel uncomfortable if I don't go to the Beiduan mountains to take a look. Even if you are cheated, you have to take a look too. There has to be something in mind. After making the decision, Yang Qiu no longer stayed, but stepped out. His figure disappeared in the desert city in an instant, and when he reappeared, he was already thousands of miles away. City Lord, that demonic giant seems to have left. In a remote alley in Dawang City, two figures appeared. They glanced at the direction Yang Qiu left, and then looked at the Tianji Tower not far away. This city lord saw it. The lord of Dawang City was very excited. The danger of destroying the city was eliminated just like that, which gave him a dream-like feeling. He felt as if he was still in a dream. It was so unreal. When did that air terminal exist? The round body of the lord of Dawang City trembled slightly, and a strange light shot out from his eyes. The subordinates don't know. Next to me. A guard said respectfully. The lord of Dawang City turned his head, glanced at the guard, then waved his hand and said, "You don't know, it's normal. Even the holy master should be treated with caution. How can we find out clearly about this person?" Just now, when Yang Qiu came out, the two of them could see his respectful look. It can be seen from this. There is definitely a terrifying figure in the Tianji Tower, who is at least countless times stronger than the old monster at the Holy Lord level. Otherwise, how could he be so respectful? Unexpectedly, my great desert city would also turn around one day. The lord of Dawang City put his hands behind his back, paced back and forth, and murmured in his mouth. Their Dawang City is really too weak. In the entire world of cultivation, they are just a drop in the ocean. They have no backing, let alone meet a Holy Lord level figure. Even if they see, the inner disciples or core disciples of a certain holy land must be worshipped as ancestors. If I, in Dawang City, could hug the thigh of the senior from Tianji Tower. Dawang Chinj thought of the key point. All the fat bodies trembled with excitement. That was a Holy Lord level figure, a very respectful existence. With the support of such characters. They're in a deserted city, so they're still not allowed to take off from where they are? At least in the future, you don't need to look at the faces of those holy places again. I have to go meet my senior. With that said, the lord of Dawang City walked towards Tianji Tower. City Lord. The guard who just spoke caught up with him and said hurriedly, "The senior in the Tianji Tower must be an expert. Isn't it a bit strange for us to go there empty-handed now, unbecoming of etiquette?" The lord of Dawang City immediately stopped, patted his forehead in annoyance, and said fearfully, "Thank you for reminding me. Otherwise, this city lord will make a big mistake. Although Dawang City is small, it has all the internal organs. Among them, in addition to his city lord, there are two other big families. Each family is eyeing the position of the city lord, and they offend the senior personnel of Tianji Tower. In case that, what if a high-ranking person is not happy and loses his position as city lord? In that situation, I am afraid that the heads of the other two major families will laugh out of their dreams. The city lord will prepare a heavy gift later. You can go there with the heavy gift and send me a greeting card. By the way, I can find out what the senior has to say, if he is willing." The lord of Dawang City pondered for a moment, and then said, "I would like to accept the position of guest minister. I don't need my senior to do anything. As long as I can take action once when I encounter a disaster in Dawang City." The lord of Dawang City was very happy in his heart. Clear. The person who can make all the Holy Lord level people respect him must be a supreme being that is unattainable to them. Recruiting people is almost like a dream. The best way is to ask for a favor. As long as there is love and affection, if others want to provoke Dawang City, they have to think carefully. Subordinates, go get ready now. The guard said respectfully. Well, go for it. The Lord of Dawang City nodded and said. Fantasy, me. Create a secret building at the beginning. Author, Mavericks Flying. Chapter 15. In the Tianji Tower. Li Yun watched Yang Qiu go away. He turned back to sit on the chair and said. Come out. Thank you, senior. Lu Chensu walked out of the side room and bowed respectfully. At this moment, her eyes changed when she looked at Li Yun. At first, she thought that the senior in front of her was just as good as her master. But now it seems that it is obviously not the case. That Yang Qiu is also an elder of the Nine Nether Demon sect after all. He is a little worse than his master, but not too different. Such a lawless and powerful person must be careful not to offend him. Looking at the senior in front of Nu, one can imagine the strength of the senior. No need to thank me, it's just a transaction. Li Yun turned around, looked at Lu Chensu and said with a smile, has your master returned from delivering the news? Is he already on his way? Li Yun is still very concerned about Lu Chensu's master. An elder of the Juyu demon sect has so many good things. How rich is the leader of the Deluo sword sect? Pass, sent back. Lu Chensu lowered her head, her pretty face turned rosy at a speed visible to the naked eye. She was a little embarrassed to be stared at by her senior like this. Deluo sword sect is far away from Dawang City. Even if my master comes here, it will take at least 2 days. 2 days. Li Yun thought for a while and said with a smile, don't be in a hurry, let him take his time. Correct. Li Yun seemed to have thought of something and asked again, what is your master's strength? Well. Lu Chensu was slightly startled, stunned for a moment, and said slightly uncertainly, it should be the Holy Lord realm. She only knew that her master was very strong, but how strong he was, she couldn't tell for sure. But every Holy Land Holy Lord has almost Holy Lord level strength, and her master should also be at this level. Oh. Li Yun said meaningfully. Holy Lord level. This is easy to handle. An elder of the Nine Nether Demon sect is ready to enter the saint realm. You, a leader, are still at the level of a saint. How dare you talk to others in the future? On this matter, Li Yun is confident that he has mastered Master Deluo. The deserted city. Billions of miles away. High in the sky. A middle-aged man wearing a purple robe, elegant and dignified, was on his way quickly. Suddenly, he shuddered. There is a trace of doubt in the eyes. Eccentric. The middle-aged man murmured, Schwer spread the news that there is no danger anymore. Why do I always have an ominous premonition? I'm very confused. I can't figure it out. 2 days are fleeting, so you should stay here first. In the Tianji Tower, Li Yun said casually, you don't have to be cautious, just wait with peace of mind. Yes. Lu Chensu nodded. Although Li Yun told her not to be restrained, she had never thought so. Seeing Li Yun start reading a book again, she walked over in small steps, picked up the teapot, filled the empty teacup, a cup of tea was served. Li Yun glanced at it without paying much attention. At this moment, Li Yun's mind was already immersed in the system. More than 10,000 secret points. This was a huge fortune. He had to think carefully about how to do it. Flowers will do. System, open them all, and filter out exercises suitable for my practice. Li Yun said in his heart. Now in the 5th level of the body training realm, the main thing is to train the body. It doesn't matter whether there are exercises or not, but it won't work later. You have to practice true energy. At least there is a foundation of exercises. Ding. The exercises suitable for the host's cultivation have been found. 9 transformations mysterious skill, prehistoric world worth 1 billion secret points. Divine elephant's prison suppressing power, holy king world worth 500 million secret points. 89 mysterious skills, prehistoric world worth 100 million secret points. Demon Prison Mysterious Embryo Sutra, Emperor World worth 80 million secret points. Heavenly Emperor Sutra, Jishin World worth 2 million TNG points. Can cultivate to the realm of the Great Emperor. Wuxi Sutra, Zetian World worth 2 million TNG points. Can cultivate to the realm of the Great Emperor. So expensive. Li Yun frowned. At this time, a very embarrassing situation emerged. He couldn't afford the exercises he valued, and he didn't like the exercises he could afford. The potential of about 10,000 exercises was too low to be practiced. It is very difficult to reach the realm of saints. It is almost impossible to go up unless you change other techniques. Can the system be purchased separately? Li Yun asked in his heart. Can. After the system was restored, Li Yun breathed a sigh of relief, and he said then spend 10,000 TNG points to buy the first part of the Heavenly Emperor Sutra. Ding, the host spends 10,000 TNG points to purchase the first chapter of the Heavenly Emperor Sutra, can be cultivated to the 4 extreme secret realm. So dark. Li Yun complained in his heart. 10,000 TNG points are only for the 4 extreme secret realm. Wouldn't it be more expensive after that? How much is the Dragon Transformation secret realm? What about Immortal Platform? As for the 2 realms of Quasi-Emperor and Great Emperor, Li Yun can't even think about it now. I don't even dare to think about it. I conservatively estimate that killing a few fat sheep will not be enough to buy a complete book of exercises. If I had known this, I would have bought something else. At least I can practice to the strength of the Holy Lord. Ding, the host doesn't know something. The most important thing in a skill is its potential. The lower the value of the skill, the lower its potential. In a battle with the same level, the strength can be limited. The potential of the Heavenly Emperor Sutra is not only the Great Emperor realm, but also the power it can exert is greater. Big. Fine. Hearing the system's explanation, Li Yun managed to regain some balance. He glanced at his remaining secret points and said, the system uses all TNG points to improve strength. Ding, do you want to spend 840 secret points to improve your strength? Yes. The voice just fell. Almost at the same time, a terrifying true energy appeared in Li Yun's body out of thin air. The Heavenly Emperor's Sutra started to move on its own. Boom. The golden light is brilliant. In the TNG tower, a golden sun appears, rippling out a breathtaking aura. Under the scorching sun, there are thousands of stormy waves, scattering endless divine brilliance, as if to submerge the world. Li Yun sits in the blazing sun under the sun. He has a majestic figure, like an immortal king. He suppresses eternity by one person and looks down at the 9 heavens, making everything in the world lose its luster. This is what happened. Lu Chensu looked at Li Yun without blinking, with curiosity in her eyes, and murmured, Senior, are you practicing? It doesn't seem like much. Because TNG Pavilion blocked all the atmosphere, Lu Chensu could only see the grand atmosphere, but could not feel any pressure at all, which made her very surprised. Tread. Lu Chensu's feet moved slightly, and she took a step forward. Just one step. The golden color in front of her changed greatly, and a golden yang spread out, boundless, with waves rising into the sky. In the center of the Wan Yang, there was a green lotus with 3 leaves, swaying and shining. Green lotus with a shock, all realms were shattered, chaos and mist surged, completely submerging everything. Not good. Seeing this scene, Lu Chensu shouted. He felt desperate. He shouldn't be so curious. The master of TNG is too mysterious. Everything about him was shrouded in a layer of fog. He just took a slight step forward. Unexpectedly, he stepped in. She was in a desperate situation. Just when she thought she was about to be completely swallowed by this golden king sun, everything disappeared. The TNG tower appeared again, and she kept standing there, as if all the scenes just now were illusions. But the cold sweat on her body reminded her all the time that everything was true. Is this the secret realm of the four extremes? On the other side. Li Yun slowly opened his eyes. Compared with the current strength in the world, he is now roughly in the magical realm, and is the leader among the younger generation. But he is still not powerful. It is conceivable that this is a day. His achievements made him feel balanced. The secret points are gone again. Li Yun sighed. He made money quickly and spent it even faster. The more than 10,000 secret points were all used up before he could warm himself up. He didn't even have any magical powers. At the moment, he could only hope that Lu Chensu's master would arrive soon. P.S. Realm, physical training, vitality, spiritual energy, enlightenment, magical power, rebirth, celestial changes, celestial phenomena, Tianyuan, Holy Lord, Saint, Holy King, Great Sage, Quasi-Emperor, Great Emperor. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, me. Create a secret building at the beginning. Author, Mavericks Flying. Chapter 16. Senior. Lu Chensu saw Li Yun wake up and asked in a low voice what happened just now. Well. Li Yun's face froze and he asked stiffly, have you seen everything? Lu Chensu nodded. It's over. Li Yun's eyes darkened. If he had known better, he would have pushed Lu Chensu away first. He had just redeemed his skills and couldn't help himself. He exchanged all the secret points for strength, but ignored Lu Chensu's existence. The strength of the magical power realm, although he is not weak, he is not much stronger. How could he hide the power just now from Lu Chensu? If she expected it to be true, her identity as a worldly expert might have collapsed. Lu Chensu is not a fool, she sees with the momentum just now, how could you not guess in your heart? Clinker. Lu Chensu's face became more and more respectful, and she asked tentatively. Could it be that the senior is a certain great emperor? Li Yun's eyes lit up. Is there any chance of a turning point? Cough. Li Yun coughed lightly and said calmly, Li is not the great emperor, he is just an ordinary Tianji building master. Ordinary. Lu Chensu was speechless. Can ordinary people create the momentum just now? Can an ordinary person be respected as a god by a saint-level figure? Until now, she still has lingering fears. Thinking of the scene just now, she seemed to be facing an emperor who looked down upon the past, present and future, and looked down upon all the worlds. There was no thought of resistance at all. One look from the other party can make him disappear into ashes. Seeing Li Yun picking up the book, he stopped talking. Lu Chensu was too sensible and didn't ask any more questions. She understood that knowing too much would not do her any good. At the same time, Li Yun felt relieved when he saw that Lu Chensu had given up asking questions. His identity has not been exposed. The picture Lu Chensu saw was different from what he thought. Then comes the problem. What did Lu Chensu just see? The deserted city is millions of miles away. A stream of light streaked across the sky at extremely fast speed. It didn't take long. The stream of light stopped in a void, the brilliance dissipated, and an old man in black appeared, with a majestic demeanor. His eyes were open and closed, and the light was shining. Finally reached. Yang. Chiu stood with his hands behind his back and said in his heart. It took him almost 2 hours to arrive at a distance of millions of miles. If his magic cloud shoes were not given to the owner of Tianji, he would have been faster. Is this the Beiduan mountain range? Yang Qiu looked down. It doesn't matter if you don't look. When he looked over, his eyes immediately widened. After seeing the situation below clearly, he almost spit out blood. He saw. Wherever he saw, It is a desolate place with flying yellow sand and desolation everywhere. The spiritual energy is extremely thin. Within tens of thousands of miles, there is no human figure. Not even a ghost can be seen. The continuous mounds stretch to the end of the sky. Say something. It is no exaggeration to say that there are poor mountains and poor waters. This, old man, hate it? Yang Qiu took 3 steps back in the air, covered his chest with his palms, and wailed. His chest heaved violently, like a bellows, and there was thick breath in his mouth. A terrifying aura swept out, crushing countless mountains. He was tricked. He was definitely deceived. All his wealth was exchanged for a false news. He actually stupidly went there in person. This is the place. The spiritual energy is so thin. You can't even practice normal cultivation. How can you have a chance to exist? Use thinking about it with your toes, you can understand that not even a single spiritual grass can grow here. All my belongings. Yang Qiu's eyes went dark. He almost fell from the sky. He endured it for a while, and the more he thought about it, the angrier he became. He took a step back, and the more he thought about it, the more he felt frustrated. He suddenly turned around and was about to fly towards the Tianji Tower, but before he could start, he suddenly I'm scared. The master of Tianji is too scary. Not to mention myself, even the 9 nether demon sect can't afford to offend me. If I go alone, let's not talk about whether I can get the resources back or not. Even myself and the 9 nether demon sect may be compensated. I am so angry. Yang Qiu roared, made a fist with one hand, and punched the void. The punch was so powerful that it was like a meteor streaking across the sky, and the void shook with a bang. In his imagination, the mountains collapsed and the earth was shattered. Appeared. Instead, the void began to gradually distort. What happened? Yang Qiu's expression changed, and he looked at the void without blinking. He saw symbols appearing one after another in the void. Like stars, hanging in the void, very bright and crowded. The whole world. Is it possible? Yang Qiu's eyes bloomed with dazzling light, and he said in disbelief. Master Tianji, didn't you lie to me? Before he came back to his senses, the surrounding scenery changed, and the stars turned red. A terrifying aura rushed over the sky and covered the earth. This pressure was very huge. Even Yang Qiu, I couldn't bear it at all and was pushed down from the sky to the ground. Click. The ground was trampled. Yang Qiu looked down and his pupils suddenly shrank violently. Centered on him, within a radius of thousands of miles, it was covered with bones. I don't know how many corpses had accumulated. Some bones had already weathered. I don't know how many years ago they were. Ancient people. And some corpses are as lifelike as they were in life. It can be seen from the corpses that many of them are not weaker than him in strength, at least at the Holy Lord level. This is a Jedi? Step into otherwise, die. Because of this, the news here has never spread, and no one knows that there is such a terrifying place here. If ordinary people see this scene, they will be frightened and overwhelmed. But Yang Qiu was different. Instead of panicking, he was extremely excited. That's right. Yang Qiu's body trembled. A jade slip appeared in his hand. He glanced at the content, then looked at the formation in front of him, and said in a voiceless voice, it must be right. Senior is indeed a senior. He didn't lie to me. It's all true, there really is a way to sanctification here. Fantasy, me. Create a secret building at the beginning. Author, Mavericks Flying. Chapter 17. Yang Qiu was furious just now. Less than a second. The attitude has changed 180 degrees. Tianji Tower. It deserves to be called Tianji Tower. It can calculate such a secret place, and also gives a method to break the formation. Master Tianji is an extraordinary person. Yang Qiu stood in the formation, bent down and picked up a few broken weapons from the ground. The owners of these weapons were not weak, and naturally the weapons were not bad either. The materials used are all cherished. Even if the weapon is broken, if you pick up the materials and recast them, you might be able to forge some good Holy Lord level weapons. Not a loss. Yang Qiu was trembling with excitement at this moment. I even made a little profit. I don't know how many years this formation has existed. Over time, there are many people who accidentally entered this place. They had no luck of their own, and they didn't know the owner of Tianji. Not long after they entered, they were killed by the formation. Even if I don't become a saint during this trip, I can almost make my money back just by picking up equipment. Now that I have so much information, how can I not be stronger if I go back to the owner of Tianji to exchange some information? Yang Qiu's eyes flashed. At this moment, he was thinking very far. Becoming a saint was no longer his main goal. As long as he kept getting information from the master of Tianji, even if he wanted to become a saint king or even a great saint, it doesn't seem to be difficult. Yang Qiu waved his sleeves and instantly collected everything on the ground. When he collected the weapons, the formation was also activated. Boom! Huge dragon-shaped blood energy rose into the sky, like a volcano erupting, with majestic momentum, and divine power surging like Wang Yang. Terrifying murderous intent, like a tide, drowned everything. This kind of power, even in the realm of saints, you have to be careful, let alone a Holy Lord level figure. Clang! 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 The metallic trembling sound came. On the sky, a dark red longsword was condensed. It was 100 feet long and stretched across the sky. It seemed to be made of condensed blood. The whole body was filled with evil energy, which was breathtaking. It seemed that there were grievances wailing from the long river of time. Come out. These are the people who died in the formation in the past. They did not lose their souls, but were imprisoned here and turned into the nourishment of the formation. Gudong. Yang Qiu swallowed. This scene was too shocking. Many of the dead people were more powerful than him, but now they have all turned into formation puppets. If he didn't have the help of Master Tianji and rushed in, he would probably the end will be the same as them. Boom! The formation is running, and the light is soaring straight into the sky. The whole void is shaking. Blood-red long swords interweave the great principles, covering the sky and the earth. Like a spider web, covering it from the sky. Ancient formations completely revived, the supreme divine power surges like the Yangtze River into the sea, roaring and roaring. Its power has surpassed many Sex Mountain protecting formations. It is hard to imagine that the formations that have gone through countless years are still so powerful today. Gudong. Yang Qiu swallowed. This place is too scary. The terrifying power made his calves begin to cramp. It was a critical moment. Yang Qiu's mind sank into the jade slip, reading the method of breaking the formation recorded in it. After a moment, he quickly came to his senses and took a step forward to the left. Boom! There was a loud noise. The blood-colored longsword fell. If billions of stars shattered, the sky was filled with dazzling light. Just the aftermath almost made Yang Qiu's body crack. But the good thing is, the formation just hit it, he survived. I'm not dead. Yang Qiu glanced at the formation and felt lingering fear. Fortunately, he had the jade slip given to him by the owner of Tianji. Otherwise, he would never have been able to dodge this attack on his own. Had the first experience. The next road will be much smoother. According to the cracking method in the jade slip, he was able to navigate the formations with ease, and was able to escape the formation's murderous intent every time. Thanks to the owner of Tianji. Yang Qiu wiped the cold sweat from his forehead. He did not choose to leave the formation immediately, but studied it carefully. Judging from the style of this formation, this opportunity does not look like it was left by someone in the right way. In the right way, it is impossible to imprison the soul of a person by setting up a formation. This method is more like a person in the devil's way. If there is a chance, moving this formation back to the Juyo demon sect will undoubtedly be a huge enhancement to the strength of the demon sect. After all, this formation has been passed down from ancient times. Everything that has something to do with ancient times is a good thing. Things that are slightly inferior cannot be left now and have long since disappeared over the long years. Yang Qiu pondered for a moment and thought in his mind, after leaving this time, no matter what, I have to go to Dawang City again. Maybe the master of Tianji has a way to move this formation back. If so, place this formation on the mountain peak where you live. Just thinking about it, it's very face-saving. Besides myself, who else can ask the saint to help him arrange a formation? More than half an hour later, Yang Qiu broke through the first killing formation and came to a small cave. See the scene inside the cave. Yang Qiu was stunned. In front of him, a fairyland appeared. The spiritual energy was extremely rich, and the ground was covered with puddles of spiritual springs. This was a scene that could only appear in a few cave heavens. But here, the same thing appears. Looking around, countless treasures of heaven and earth are swaying in the wind. The aroma of the elixir is refreshing, and a light sniff will make you feel ecstatic. No one has entered this small cave for an unknown period of time. There are countless elixirs that are hundreds of thousands of years old, and even there are only a few elixirs that are millions of years old. In the center, there is a 3-foot-tall elixir with 9 leaves. It is verdant and blooming with spiritual light. There are dragons and phoenixes surrounding it. It is very magical. Holy medicine. Yang Qiu took one look and couldn't move his eyes away anymore. The azure grass that is millions of years old, this is so precious. Does the owner of Tianji know that a sky blue ethereal grass grows here? Incredible. Yang Qiu walked forward step by step and came to the sky blue sky spirit grass. He seemed to have lost his soul. He looked at this holy medicine with unblinking eyes. This spiritual medicine can help people get rid of their inner demons. There is no market in the outside world. He has been searching for hundreds of years and found nothing. But today, he finally found it. It's still 1,000,000 years old. Fantasy, me. Create a secret building at the beginning. Author, Mavericks Flying. Chapter 18. Developed. Yang Qiu took a deep breath and tried to calm down his excitement. First, he picked up a lot of materials from the formation. Now, he encountered a small cave and obtained countless spiritual herbs. Added together, not only did he get all his previous losses back, but he also made a lot of money. More importantly, according to the owner of Tianji, the method of becoming a saint is hidden deep in this cave. This is simply a big deal. 3. Add all of them together. His family fortune has increased several times. After I become a saint, I must refine a holy weapon. Yang Qiu thought in his mind. What kind of existence is a saint? Every time he stamps his feet, it will shake thousands of miles around. Such existence is the foundation of a section. How can he continue to use holy master level weapons? But the key point is that the materials for refining holy lord level weapons are extremely precious. Not to mention the materials for refining holy weapons. If you add these spiritual herbs together, you might be able to buy the whereabouts of some divine gold in the Tianji Tower. Everyone has laziness. If there is no convenient way, that's it. It takes 700 or 800 years to gather the materials for refining weapons, but now that he knows a more convenient way, Yang Qiu is not willing to waste time and effort to slowly looking for it. Wouldn't it be beautiful to get it right in one step? Until this moment, Yang Qiu didn't know that he had become a loyal repeat customer of Tianji Tower. The most urgent task is to get rid of the inner demons first. Yang Qiu glanced at the elixirs around him and did not choose to pick them. The elixirs are different from other things. This thing is very fragile. If the picking method is wrong, the potency of the medicine will be greatly reduced, or it will turn into nothingness. You can only take one step at a time. Take your time. There are countless elixirs in this small cave. If you pick them one by one, you still don't know how long it will take you to pick them. Moreover, after you pick the elixirs, you must keep them properly. If they are not stored well, after a while, the elixir will still be greatly reduced in spirituality. Instead of going through a thankless effort, it is better to let these elixirs grow here. Anyway, he is the only one who knows about it here. We also have to count the owner of Tianji. Based on the strength of the master of Tianji, Yang Qiu guessed that those masters would not be idle and would come here to compete with him for the opportunity. If they really wanted to compete for it, wouldn't it be more convenient if you just didn't tell yourself? Thinking of this, Yang Qiu no longer had any worries. He leaned down, carefully dug out the azure sky spirit grass, and then cut off a small section. Most of the remaining parts were sealed in a jade box. Outside the jade box, he placed a few more restrictions before putting them away. He couldn't use much of the million-year-old elixir, which was powerful. He took the rest out and resold it, making another huge profit. There are more resources. When I have time, I might be able to buy some information about the Sage King's opportunity at the Tianji Tower. Although not yet a saint. But Yang Qiu has already planned his future. After a while, Yang Qiu sat cross-legged on the ground, adjusted his energy and spirit to the peak, and then swallowed the azure sky spirit grass into his belly. The moment the spirit grass entered the entrance, it turned into a stream of warmth. Along the meridians in the body, it goes retrograde and rushes into the mind. Buzz. Suddenly, Yang Qiu's mind was shaken, and his whole aura changed. At this moment, the aura of the great avenue flowed around him, as if he was naturally integrated with the heaven and earth. The heavenly sound of the great avenue sounded around him, and black clouds of the devil flower suddenly bloomed. The inner demon that had caused him so much distress in the past never appeared again. He had always been brooding over the sneak attack on his senior brother before, but at this time he completely let go of it. The past is blown away by the wind, and everything is blown away. He has enlightened. When Yang Qiu was immersed in cultivation. One day passed. Early morning. The sun has just risen. Outside the Tianji building, a group of people came over. The leader was wearing a suit of armor, with a cold light flashing on its surface and spiritual energy flowing around it. It was obvious at first glance that he was not an ordinary person. This man's name is Han Feng, and he is the commander of the bodyguards under the Lord of Dawang City. His usual duty is to guard Dawang City and maintain public order. But today, he came to Tianji Tower with another mission. That is to ask to see the owner of Tianji Tower. After Han Feng straightened his clothes and made sure there was nothing rude, he took a few steps forward, walked to the door of Tianji Tower, and shouted respectfully. Han Feng in Dawang City, please see your senior. Korean style. In the Tianji building, Li Yun looked puzzled. He seemed to have never heard of this name. Could it be possible that business would come to the door at dawn? This is a good thing. Li Yun was shocked and cleared his throat. Road. Fellow Taoist Han, please come in. Thank you, senior. Hearing the voice coming from the Tianji building, Han Feng was very excited. It seems that the senior is not difficult to get along with and is much more peaceful than he thought. When Han Feng stepped into the Tianji building, he saw a man dressed in green. Li Yun wore a t-shirt. He cupped his hands, bowed and said, "The junior Han Feng, on the orders of the Lord of Dawang City, came to see his senior today in order to thank his senior for saving Dawang City yesterday." As he said that, a jade box appeared in Han Feng's hand. Holding it in both hands, he walked forward and presented it to Li Yun. He said respectfully, "This is the city lord's intention, and he also asks the senior to accept it. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, me. Create a secret building at the beginning. Author, Mavericks Flying. Chapter 19. Li Yun's heart moved and he looked at the jade box in Han Feng's hand. Twilight Realm, celestial level magic weapon, can be exchanged for 1,300 celestial secret points. The Lord of Dawang City is really too polite. A smile rose on Li Yun's face, and he reached out to take the jade box. Don't give up the benefits for free. It's a celestial level magic weapon. Li Yun suddenly had countless favorability points towards the Lord of the Wilderness City who he had not yet met. This is what our city lords should do. Without the seniors, the great desert city would have been destroyed yesterday. Han Feng said respectfully. In front of the extremely terrifying senior master Tianji, he did not dare to be presumptuous at all. He kept his posture very low. Yesterday. Li Yun was puzzled. What did he do yesterday? After thinking about it carefully, it seems that Yang Qiu came here. Could it be that Yang Qiu wanted to destroy Dawang City? Is this possible? Can't say no after all. Disciple Yang Qiu died near Dawang City. It is reasonable for a holy lord level figure to vent his anger on Dawang City not far away. More importantly, Lu Chensu is still hiding in Dawang City. It's really not certain whether Dawang City could survive if he was not around. Figured this out. Li Yun still had a warm smile on his face, raised his finger and pointed to a chair, saying, "Come, fellow Taoist Han, please take a seat. In front of the seniors, the juniors don't dare to call me Taoist friends, so just call me Han Feng. Fellow Taoists are only those of the same level who are qualified to call each other. If the giant of the demonic way yesterday knew that he and the senior called each other fellow Taoist, I would probably die without knowing how he died in the future. Then I will call you Commander Han," Li Yun said. Just now, he took a look at Han Feng's message. He is the commander of the guards of Dawang City. His duty is to guard Dawang City. His strength is only at the early stage of the aperture realm, which is much lower than Lu Chensu. With this strength, let alone Lu Chensu, it might be okay in Dawang City. But in the entire cultivation world, it's nothing. Senior is too polite. Han Feng said. He didn't expect that the senior was more elegant and easygoing than he thought. He didn't have the airs of a superior at all. If it hadn't been for what happened yesterday, he would have even mistakenly thought that the senior in front of him was just an ordinary person. That's all. Ah. Li Yun laughed, picked up the teacup, and made a gesture of invitation. Next to him, Lu Chensu brought a cup of tea in time and placed it next to Han Feng. Han Feng glanced at Lu Chensu and exclaimed in his heart, "The senior is indeed a senior, a maid with such good cultivation. Judging from her aura, she should be higher than her own strength. And she is also stunning in the world." After glancing at it, Han Feng did not dare to look at it. Just when he was about to reach out to bring the tea, he seemed to have thought of something. He turned to look at Lu Chensu again. This time, he couldn't sit still anymore and stood up from the chair with a loud noise. What kind of maid is this woman? She is obviously a disciple of Deluo sword sect. On her sleeves, there are embroidered a golden long sword, obviously a core disciple. With this status, at least her master is also an elder of the Deluo sword section. To be more exaggerated, he may be a disciple of the headmaster. Such a person comes to be a maid for the senior? Originally, Han Feng withdrew the palm of his hand that was about to bring tea. Others' tea was okay, but when the core disciples of Deluo sword sect brought him tea, he really didn't dare to drink it. When a person like this usually comes to Dawang city, they all it must be offered as an offering by the ancestors. Who dares to drink the tea poured out by the ancestors? What's wrong? Li Yun raised his head and said in surprise. This Han Feng is good at everything, but his concentration is a bit awkward. Without, fine. Han Feng smiled stiffly, cupped his hands, and said this junior suddenly remembered that there are still important things that need to be dealt with urgently, so I won't stay any longer. This. Li Yun's expression froze. What's the situation? I haven't started talking about this business yet, why do you want to leave? Correct. Han Feng seemed to remember something and asked again. I dare to ask senior, when will he have free time? My city lord wants to take time to visit senior. Because I was afraid of delaying the senior's important matters, I asked my subordinates to inquire first. Always available. Li Yun said aloud. At this time, he understood. Han Feng was not the patron, but the city lord behind him. That's great. Han Feng breathed a sigh of relief. No matter what, this matter is done. What happens next depends on the city lord's personal performance. He wiped the cold sweat from his forehead, not daring to leave it any longer, and said with his hands. Juniors say goodbye. Li Yun nodded. After Han Feng left the Tianji Tower. Not stopping for a moment. Leading his men, he went straight to the city lord's mansion. Before reaching the city lord's mansion, far away, I saw the city lord of Dawang standing in front of the door, eagerly waiting. How about it? Senior, would you like to see me? The lord of Dawang city came up to greet him and asked eagerly. Fortunately, the subordinate lived up to his command. The senior was elegant, easygoing, and approachable. He told the city lord that he could go see him at any time. Han Feng cupped his hands and said. Very good. The lord of Dawang city rubbed his hands and murmured, the gift I prepared will take almost 2 days, so we will go to Tianji Tower in 2 days. City lord. Han Feng hesitated to speak. What's wrong? The lord of Dawang city glanced at Han Feng and said, there are no outsiders here. If you have anything to say, just say it directly. Just now, in the Tianji Tower, my subordinates saw a disciple of Deludo sword section. Oh. And this thing? The lord of Dawang city became curious. Yesterday he saw a giant of the demonic way, and today he saw a member of the great Ludo sword sect. Is it possible that the senior has mastered both black and white? Generally, people who can do this are either just outsiders. Both sides are fawning over him, or he is so powerful that both sides want to fawn over him. And the mysterious Tianji building owner is obviously the latter. Can you see clearly, who is that from De Ludo Jian sect? De Wangqinj asked in a deep voice. The subordinate is not sure about the specific situation, but according to what the subordinate saw, it seems that he is a core disciple of the De Ludo sword sect, and then give it to the senior. Han Feng paused and continued, be a maid. Dawang city was stunned. He pondered for a long time and said slowly, the identity of the senior in Tianji Tower is probably beyond my prediction. The gifts I have prepared now are still too light. Reading books on May Day is so enjoyable. Get 500 VIP coupons for 100. Top up now, activity time, April 29th to May 3rd. Fantasy, May. Create a secret building at the beginning. Author, Mavericks Flying. Chapter 20. 2 days passed by in a flash. 2 days later. The lord of Dawang city was lightly dressed, took a few guards, and went straight to the Tianji Tower. Behind him, Han Feng was half a step behind, holding a wooden box in his hand. Because he was too nervous, his hands were shaking slightly. He knew what was in this wooden box. Everlasting tree. The material is as tough as gold. Every 100 years, it only grows 1 point. After 10,000 years, the material has undergone earth-shaking changes and can be used to cast holy weapons. This time, the city lord spent a lot of money to give gifts, even taking out the treasures of the town and clan. Today a 10,000-year-old tree appears in the world. If the seniors don't accept them, you can imagine that the city lord family will definitely face terrible pressure. Countless saint-level figures, and even saints, have to look over. How can a small family hold such precious materials in their hands? Sir, we have arrived at Tianji Tower. Han Feng reminded in a low voice. The Lord of Dawang City nodded. He raised his steps and walked towards Tianji Tower. Before he reached the door, a breeze blew by. Before he could recover, a figure appeared in front of him. What's the situation? The Lord of Dawang City was stunned. He had finally found an auspicious day and made a special trip to see his senior. How come he was upstaged? At that moment, the Lord of Dawang City was about to get angry. It would be fine elsewhere. But in Dawang City, this time how can outsiders bully a third of an acre of land? Do you really think that one person is the Holy Lord? It's just one person like that. How could there be a Holy Lord running to Dawang City every 2 days? Your Excellency, everything must be done on a first-come, first-served basis. Isn't it inappropriate for you to do this? The Lord of Dawang City said coldly. Everyone chose to meet the seniors on the same day. Naturally, those who go in first will be more likely to leave a good impression. Even if the Lord of Dawang City is stupid, he will not give this opportunity to others. The people in front of him, without saying a word, he raised his head and looked at Tianji Tower, a little lost in thought. I don't want to take action in front of the senior's door. If you are sensible, just retreat by yourself. The Lord of the city of Dawang said lightly. People like the seniors are extremely powerful. They can detect the slightest movement in a radius of thousands of miles. They must also know what happened in front of this door. In order to leave a good impression on the seniors, starting from just now, the Lord of the city of the Dawang has begun the drama spirit is possessed. He might be able to please the senior by pretending to be generous. It's a pity. After he finished speaking, the figure in front still didn't answer. The Lord of Dawang City's forehead beat, and anger rose in his chest. He raised one hand and grabbed the person in front of him, saying, since you don't know what is good and what is good, then. The words were not finished. The person in front of him turned around. This is a middle-aged man, wearing a purple robe and a jade belt around his waist. His hair is meticulously combed. Even if he doesn't move, he has an inexplicable majesty. Damn it! Seeing this man's appearance clearly, the Lord of Dawang City stepped back a few steps, his heart pounding, and his mouth trembled as he said, Dawang City Lord, Dalugo, Master Dalugo. Did you just speak to me? Ren Qingtu said lightly. No, Headmaster Ren must have heard wrongly. The master of Dawang City was stupid. This is so humming scary. How many days has it been since the last Holy Lord level figure left? Another Holy Lord came on the back foot. This one was even more terrifying, it was Headmaster Dalugo. If he hadn't shown up from time to time, he had seen him from afar and would never have recognized him today. Fortunately, I took a look, otherwise I would definitely be doomed. The righteous Holy Lord may not be bloodthirsty, but the Holy Lord is majestic and does not allow blasphemy. Anyone who offends him will almost certainly die, but other people will not be implicated. The Lord of Dawang City looked at Ren Qingtu and then at the Tianji Tower not far away, feeling a huge wave in his heart. Every sect leader has to come to Tianji Tower in person. What kind of person is the senior in Tianji Tower? Think of this situation. The Lord of Dawang City sighed in his heart and could only admit that he was unlucky. I finally picked an auspicious day, but I didn't expect to bump into Headmaster Dalugo. Now, how could he dare to rob someone else? The overall strength of Deluo sword sect is not inferior to that of some holy places. As the leader, Ren King Tu, his strength is also the best among the holy masters. There is room for sanctification in the future. For the sake of the owner of Tianji, I will spare your life. Headmaster Deluo said. He didn't reveal any aura, but the power he held all year round and the power of his high position still made the Lord of Dawang City look pale and breathless. What the Lord of Dawang City just said was already considered a provocation to him. He killed the other party on the spot, and no one could find fault. The reason why he didn't kill him was because he thought the same as the Lord of Dawang City. This was in front of the Tianji Tower, and the seniors among them must have noticed the situation here. At this moment take action. It is undoubtedly to hurt Tianjilu's face. He will not be so unwise, after all, he has preserved his apprentice. I am here this time to thank Tianjilu. Thank you, Master Ren. The lord of the city of Dawang stepped aside in fear. Even now, he can't calm down. It's too scary. In the past, it was unimaginable that the Lord of the Holy Lord would come every 2 days. Ren Qingtu glanced at the lord of the city of Dawang. Without saying anything else, he turned around, slightly cupped his hands, and said loudly. De Luo's head teacher Ren Qingtu asks to see the master of Tianji.